Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner, Classics, Non-Classics. This is episode number 464 and Doubleshot number 380. Two Batman trades. First up, it's Batman New Gotham, Volume 1, collecting Detective Comics, number 742 to 753. This is a new printing, New Gotham trades. The second volume, I did check, there is another volume coming out for this one. It's coming out in March of next year. I don't really know why it's taking so long, but yeah. All the issues in here written by the ever awesome Greg Rucka. Yep. I think this is actually the start of his run of the book. Let me double check that just to be sure. Let's see. I just want to be sure about this. Let's see. Yeah. Actually, no. This is not technically the start of his run, but sort of an era that he did start. His first actual issue he did was 732. That was the first official issue he did do. He basically stayed with the book. He did 732, 735. Came back on a regular basis with 730 down to 53. Skipped 754. Came back on with 755 to 775. And, of course, 783. So, basically, he was in this book for a good 2-3 years tops. Yeah, he actually skipped one of the issues in here. I love the way they have this font here. It's so freaking good. It's sort of the noir-based style of font, which is basically what Batman's basis is. It's one of the bases of his lore, basically being noir-based. Almost every single issue in this entire trade has as a story that has Commissioner Gordon in it. Yeah, basically, this cover doesn't lie. He is in pretty much almost every single issue. There is one issue in here called Happy Birthday. It's a story featuring Montoya. Now, this is the third time it's been collected in trade. It's also been collected in one of the Gotham Central Series trades. It's been collected in the original trade that collected the issues in here, which was Batman Evolution, and that collected 743 to 750. This one collects a few extra issues, like 42, is the immediate aftermath of the events of No Man's Land, and all the artwork in here is done by Sean Martzler with Phil Hessler, John Wicks, Watkiss, William Rosdo, Steve Mannon, and Brad Rader. And these basically credited on the cover. Steve McMichael is the inker. I should point out though the colors. Yeah, this is actually quite interesting. Take a look at these colors. This looks so freaking gorgeous. I gotta give props to the colorist here, which is Wildstar FX. Yeah, these colors are freaking gorgeous. It basically makes everything so pop out, and basically gives it sort of its noir feel, which is great. I gotta praise basically whoever the editor was these issues. Who edited these issues? It doesn't say who the editor was, but whoever the editor was, should give the guy a raise, because all the issues here have these great colors to them. Like the first, every arc has one set of colors. The first arc is sort of like this red, bluish color. Batman is the only one basically looks kind of normal, but it's sort of like this red and blue filter in a way. It's kind of like a lens. Yeah, that's the way it was. That's the way it is for most of this thing. Yeah, then it switches to the red is still there, but then later on they switch it to black. Yeah, they later switch it to black, and that's for the second story arc, and that's for the story Evolution, which is basically about 5 issues long. Yeah, the entirety of the story Evolution is basically done with that style of colors. Yeah, the red and black. And then you have with Happy Birthday to You, which is the story, I believe also, this is a story for Montoya. The color for this one is yellow and purple. Yep, yellow and purple. That's the color scheme for, those are two colors practically seen throughout the entirety of the storyline. For Urban Renewal, it's yellow and blue. Yeah, yellow and blue, and this is a quick little two-parter investigating basically investigating murders. Yeah, a series of murders, and the mayor is not very popular with the city. Basically, anybody who stayed behind, basically, he thinks them as cowards, and yeah, it's quite silly. Harvey Bullock is also in these issues very heavily as well. Basically, the way Greg Rucka writes these issues is he gives 8 equal screen presence basically in these issues to basically just a few characters: Batman, Commissioner Gordon, Lucius Fox is in a lot of these issues, and Harvey Bullock, and that's really it. And plus, also these issues also lay the groundwork for the awesome Gotham Central series, which is a new printing of that collects the entire 40-issue series in 4 books. Yep. And the story that comes right after Urban Renewal, which is called, let's see, it's called Dependence. Yeah, the color scheme for this one is black and green. Yeah, it's black and green. That's the color scheme for this particular story. Yeah. And that's pretty much the color scheme for like one issue. The following issue, which features Poison Ivy, the color scheme for this one is sort of like red and green. Yeah, I think, Christmas colors. Nope, green is there because it's Ivy. Yeah, because it's a Poison Ivy issue. That's simply the way it is. The thing is, the people are colored green, and the background is red. And that's the way it is for this one issue. It's this way for pretty much this entire two-parter. Yep. And then pretty much the following issue, the last issue of this whole trade. I mean, it starts off with the red and black color scheme that the opening story starts off with. Then plus you have this sort of regular art style for sort of this special story, which has many different colors. Yeah, it looks like it goes back to the normal style of artwork that you normally see in these books. Yeah. But these issues are all really, really good. Now, I should point out, though, there's a backup feature started with issue 746 that's not in this trade. The name of that feature is known as the Jacobin. It's a 14-part serial that, as far as I can tell, has never been put to trade. I keep hoping DC would do a special trade series which collects all the backup stories from 746 to 804. That's how long, basically, Detective Comics had a backup feature. And this is actually the first time that this series has had a backup feature since 1986. So basically, when these issues came out, and these issues came out in from 2000 2001, at this point in time, it had been roughly 14 years since the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and the series did not have a backup feature. Basically, one story that spread out the entire issue. Yeah. And since the series is called Detective Comics, why not have the Detective-like stories? Now, there is 2 new characters introduced in these issues. One is Whisper O'Dare, who's in here for about 4 of the issues in this trade. She also returns for 52, and I believe she shows up in... what else does she show up in? I have to look it up here. She shows up like one other time. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, she also returned. She also did appear in the storyline in the miniseries Vixen Turned to Lion, where she appeared for the last couple issues, and that was her last known appearance. Yeah, she only made a handful of appearances prior to the Flashpoint reboot. As far as I know, I don't think she appeared. She did appear in a profile story for the Secret Followers and Origins that came out basically in 2003, but that was just the profile story, basically one page. But her thing is that she is sort of this woman who hasn't aged really that much, and since she looks very young, and she's her actual age is just she's basically pushing 90, and she's a drop-dead gorgeous woman. And here's the thing: her first appearance is her basically showing off her back. Yeah, this right here, this is her first appearance in the comic book. That's the first thing you see, and apparently She only appears in this storyline, this time 50, then, of course, 52, and of course, Return of the Line. She's a woman who also has this ability where she can shed her skin, like a snake. I don't know why. Apparently keep us like young. Though Batman did give an antidote for her drug that she was kept on. Basically now she can age naturally. It won't be like rushed. So with that drug, because she's pushing 90, I would say that she probably has, with that drug, if she ages naturally the way she looks now, she looks like a woman probably in her mid to late 20s. I could probably say she has a good 50 years left of her. 50, maybe 70 years left. Basically before she ages. Now she's going to age naturally from that point forward, where she's not going to rush to look like she's 90. But that's why she is. Gorgeous woman. And she's sort of a possible potential love interest for Bruce Wayne, but it doesn't go any place at all. That's the thing with this woman. There's nothing there. It's kind of like she's just there for the antagonist for this one storyline. Pops up once again because it's Ra's al Ghul. Yeah, and apparently he kind of reveals that in the that he's kind of responsible for. It's revealed in this storyline that it's actually he created the virus. Actually, it was revealed in Legacy, but it's actually the first time people see him since No Man's Land. Actually, first time since I think it was Legacy. First time people see Ra's. Excuse me. There was two other characters who make debut in these stories. One is Christmas Allen, who basically becomes a major character in the Gotham Central series. The character, of course, prior to Flash 3, did die. He was killed by Jim Corrigan. No, it's not the guy who was the Spectre. This is the third Jim Corrigan. The second Jim Corrigan was a black detective from Metropolis. This guy was a corrupt CSI who would sell crime simulator memorabilia online. And the fact that he was on the take, he was a crooked guy, and then later on he got killed. And then later on he got killed by Christmas Allen's son. And it's also mentioned here that he's a transfer from Metropolis. Basically, he's one of two people who transfer from Metropolis to Gotham, and stays in the continuity stays in Gotham up until the Flash where he gets written out for some reason. While Maggie Sawyer stays in Gotham up until last year. She's in Gotham for like over a decade. Yeah. There's one other character that makes debut as Sasha Ventrix, creation of Greg Rucka, and my guess is the reason why that later on she's added to the series Checkmate because Greg Rucka created the character, so why not continue to use her? Yep. And plus to kind of set up basically her going to Checkmate, thanks to the events of Batman Bruce Wayne Fugitive. Yep. All the issues in here are really, really good. I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's really good. I highly recommend it. I mean, yeah, despite its $30 price tag, it's worth that because you get like 12 issues in here. Yep. Alright. Next up is Batman Zero Hour, which collects Batman number 0, 511, Batman Child of the Bat 0 and 31, Detective Comics 0, 678, Catwoman 0 and 14, even though listening to 74. I think that's a typo because in the book basically put issue 14, which is actually the last issue that the original writer Mary Jo Duffy actually did for the book. Mm-hmm. There's also Batman Legend Dark number 0, Robin Volume 4 issues 0 and 10. Now, Batman is written by Doug Moak. Yeah, he does. Now, for some reason, I'm not really sure why this is. They don't give a credit for Mary Jo Duffy on this page here for all the writers. Even though that she does write two of the stories, actually, two of the issues in here are from her run for Catwoman. For Shadow Bat, it's Alan Grant, obviously. For Detective, I believe it's Chuck Dixon. Let me look it up here. Yeah, I believe it's Chuck Dixon. Let's see. I have to look it up here. Let's see. I know Chuck Dixon is Robin. I know that. Catwoman, Mary Jo Duffy. You want proof it's Mary Jo Duffy? Let's see. I know there's a credits page on here. Let's see. Let's see here. Here we go, right here. Look at that credit. It says Joe Duffy, aka Mary Jo Duffy. with Jim Ballant and the artwork. Yeah, Jim Ballant was the artist of this run for Catwoman for pretty much the first 74 issues before the book ended 20 issues later. Let's see. I know for a fact that the comics is in here. Let's see. This is, I believe this is, yeah, it's Detective is done by Chuck Dixon, Graham Nolan, the guys who also created Bane. Yeah. Let's see. Legends, for some reason, they do not list off the creative team behind this issue. Yeah, I don't really get why. They just don't for some stupid reason. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I think maybe Archie Goodwin probably did the issue. I mean, let's see. Is this the correct issue? Yeah. Here it is. Here's Legends of Dark Knight. Here it is. Here's Legends of Dark Knight #0. There's no credit for who does this issue. Basically, if you want to look up exactly who does this issue, you have to look up online because the issue itself does not list off any time throughout this entire issue who does this issue at all. Catwoman 0 is done by Doug Moak. Yeah, I think he does just one issue for this whole run. Yeah, it's only one issue, and that's really it. Let's see. Who does this particular issue? Let's find out, because this book does about to give exactly who did the issue. Let's see. Let's see. This issue was done by, let's see, Archie Goodwin, and artwork by Vince Garno. Yeah, those are the ones who actually do this issue. Yep. But when I originally thought of DC doing this, I thought they were going to do 2 volumes as like, one is like all the 0-hour issues, and then volume 2 will be up to 0 issues. But nope, they put it on one trade, and it only costs $25. Basically, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, only 11 issues. So, not bad, DC, not bad. Though, here's oddly enough, this came out when Nightfall was still going on. Yeah, Nightfall was still in full swing. Let's see. Yeah, and it started like not long before this. Yeah. That's basically what happened. It started like not long before this. This event came out between Night's End and Prodigal. Yeah, that's pretty much when these issues came out. Yeah. Though, thanks to the events of Nightfall, later on, Chuck Dixon took over the writing of Catwoman for about good. He took over issue 15 and left with issue 40. That's when Doug Moak took over the book as the writer. Though he did also issue 0, but he did the book from issues 40 to 74 beforehand of a few different writers. I think the writer succeeding was John Ostrander for a few issues, and there was a few minor writers here and there before the book ended. All the issues in here are really good. I just kind of wish they would have put on here Mary Jo Duffy as one of the creative teams, because I think it's quite dumb for DC to do that, especially since there's one Mary Jo Duffy issue here, and it's Catwoman 14. The issue itself credits her, but for some strange reason, like I said, there's no credit for her on this entire page. Yeah, I'm like, seriously? There's like no credit for Mary Jo Duffy? I mean, is Mary Jo Duffy on not good speaking terms with DC? I have no idea. It's quite bizarre. Now, some of the other artists on here are Brett Believes, Mike Mulaney, Joe Robinson, of course, Vincent Guerra, Graham Nolan, Scott Hanna, Bob McLean, Tom McGrimmett, Ray Kersing, of course, Jim Ballant, and Bob Smith. Those are the artists who basically did. The cover is done by Graham Nolan and Scott Hanna. No one did this really good cover. It's just that I really wish DC would put Mary Jo Duffy's credit in here, because I think it's just a mistake. Either it's a mistake on the people who did this trade, I mean, obviously they made a mistake. I mean, you look very closely at this particular thing. It says Catwoman 74. That is not in this trade at all. It's Catwoman 14. Basically, what they did is that they made a typo. Yeah, that's my personal guess. They made a typo and they forgot Meredith of his credit here. So, with the exception of those two things, the issues in here are really good. And I give this book a full 9 out of 10. I wouldn't get this 9.5 because the issues are really good, but I take the half point off for two reasons: the lack of credit for Meredith Duffy and the typo on the back. Yep. So, excuse me. Wait, hold on. For the Batman issues in here, there was one feature on the version of Batgirl. There was one that featured a time displaced Dick Grayson, and also a version of Alfred. And the way it looked like Alfred from Earth 2, the original Earth 2 from the that basically was around up until Crisis. Basically, was the active Earth for Batman books from 1939 to I'd say about the early 60s. I'd say, yeah. The Batgirl story, in that one, it presents an alternate take on the Killing Joke and the origin of Two-Face, where in the alternate take of Killing Joke, instead of basically Joker shooting Barbara Gordon, he shot and killed Commissioner Gordon, and he kidnapped Barbara. Of course, Batman rescued her. Harvey then became the commissioner of the GCPD and put out a kill order on Batman because apparently he blames him for the death of Jim Gordon. The Alfred one is just an alter version of Alfred, the clumsy one from Earth 2. There's one, I think it's from Shadow of the Bat. That was from Shadow of the Bat. There's one that featured a version of what happened basically if the Waynes never killed in Crime Alley, where I think it's their son that got killed. I'm not really sure. It's never really fully stated. But yeah. On the Catwoman story, interesting thing with that one had Catwoman run across the mirror and it showed up almost every single costume she's known for wearing over the years. There's a year one costume, which is basically there was two different costumes. One was her prostitute outfit that she wore in the storyline Batman Year One, and the costume she wore for Buster's Keeper. There's that. There's a Golden Age costume, the purple dress outfit with the green cape. Her Silver Age outfit, which is basically blue suit, light and dark blue with red ears. There is the Jungle Cat thing, which I don't remember her actually wearing that at any point in her history. But in here, basically, if you read these issues and you're wondering, why is Catwoman wearing a purple jumpsuit and having long hair, even though people would think of her nowadays? People think of her with the tomboy, short hair, the black cat suit, basically looks like Emma Peel from the Avengers. Because this came out years, like a decade before she put on that costume. Yeah. And her hair was purple. No idea why her hair is purple. That's just the way it was back then. Okay? So, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode. Excuse me. Which will be episode... next episode will be 465 and Doubleshot number 381. Okay? But until then, I will see you there. Bye.